Everybody, and Happy New Year. As we all know, this is now 2026. My goodness, not sure where the last year went, but here we go, starting a new year. And as you all know, this is election year coming up. And probably towards the end of the year, there will be, adjustments in committees and, putting the word out for members of committees and stuff. And so be aware of that, but that's a few months away, but way time goes, it'll creep up on. So keep that in mind for this year. And welcome, Adrian, from the far south. Great to have you here today. It's always good to see you.
Thank you.
So we're going to call this meeting to order, and just to let everybody know that this meeting will be live streamed on YouTube and recorded for public viewing on the town's YouTube page using YouTube.com at the town of Plympton-Wyoming /streams. Item number 2 on the agenda today, if anybody has a pecuniary interest, you can declare it now or at any time throughout the meeting. Item number 3 on the agenda today, we do not have any delegations this time. Item number 4 on the agenda. Point 1. We have a motion by John Van Claveren, Hank Wiltshire, that the minutes of Wyoming Public Cemetery and Inactive Cemetery meeting be received and approved for adoption. And of course, we have the Wyoming Public Cemetery and Inactive Cemetery Committee minutes of November the 13th, 2025. So just give everybody an opportunity just to take a quick look at those minutes. It should be in your package there. You have the package down there, do you, Adrian, on the computer?
I do.
Thank you, sir. Just give you a minute to just look that over before we go to the next item of business rising. Since it's been since November, since we had our last meeting. Okay, move on then to, well, we'll make the motion here. We had the motion by John and Hank that the minutes of the Wyoming Public Cemetery and Inactive Cemetery Committee be received and approved for adoption. All in favor? Carried. Thank you, Adrian.
Yes.
I got to remember to keep looking up there. You got your hand up? Yes, Adrian.
Yeah, I'm trying to get back. Yes.
Thank you.
There it is.
Oh, camera's a little slow. Your hand still up there. Yes, Adrian.
See it?
Yeah, I see it.
See it over here.
Okay.
2 hands up.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Okay, where are we here? Flipped it upside down. Moving to 5.1. Find it here. Oh, there it is. On the agenda, business arising from the previous minutes. Anybody have any business they want to talk about off those minutes? No, I'm hearing any. Hey, that was interesting reading reading these minutes. That's the one where John had to take over. I think I kind of lost my voice. That's not very common with me. Usually my voice is usually pretty good and strong, but I appreciate everybody kind of listening to John at the last meeting. There was something else I seen on here, and I think it was interesting because this was brought to me the other day about an individual talking about some of the new rules around stones cemeteries and what we can do with them and what we can't do with them on some of these inactive cemetery stones, as we discussed, and was being talked about at another municipal cemetery that this individual talked to me about what they can do with some of these stones in these cemeteries that are literally almost falling over. And my comments were that some of the stuff we received by the government is that we're allowed to lay them down. In fact, if it becomes a safety issue. I'm sure you are all aware of that. And we're gonna have to address it probably this year, maybe more out Arrow. You know, some of them big stones back in there that we talked about. So I don't know if this is something we want to do, but keep that in mind, because there is some out there that are going to have to be dealt with, whether we lay them down or whether we talked about just how nice they are and everything else, but it's going to have to be addressed. So I'm not sure where we're going with that, but John?
It'd be nice, Mr. Chair, to discuss it, come up with something, because we've been talking about it the last 3 years.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of cool to get there, discuss it, talk it out, and then we can start dealing with it.
Yeah,
Rather than later if something does happen or.
for sure.
Can we maybe deal with it more intently when we're there in May, when we visit the cemetery, and just get down to the serious business about it at that point?
It'd be neat to talk about all the options,
Yeah,
maybe before we even get there. And we see it in person, and then here's our options that we can do, and then decide after that. Because then it's more a matter of, okay, which ones should be addressed, and then we can execute from there, you know,
Yeah,
and get into it.
and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but like out at Arrow, getting access to these back in that whole bush area, which there's a lot of them, is probably one thing we need to decide.
Mhm.
If we're even gonna do that, to even get to them, because there's no sense of going back and trying to restore or do anything with them if you can't, you know, if they're growing up in the weeds and the trees and you can't even get to them.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I think for the purpose of today, I know we're not gonna solve it here today. We need to decide, what are we gonna do back in Arrow
Mhm.
in order to get at those big stones? 'Cause I think that's where the majority of them are that I can recall.
yes, that's right.
You know, what do you guys think? But that's.
Oh, you bet. You bet. It'd be neat to maybe schedule it for our next meeting. To discuss it right out. Maybe we could nab some photos. And then when we go out in person, then we can identify which ones specifically need to be addressed.
Right. And maybe we can get like Al involved too, because we're gonna need a lot more information on how we're gonna access those stones.
Mhm. Mhm.
How much work and money it's gonna cost to even get into them.
Mhm.
Whether Al's willing to go in there and clear it out, straighten it up, or whatever this committee decides they're gonna do. I think it's a big job.
Mhm. Yes, yes.
So, yeah, for the next meeting, and I can talk to Al and tell him, like, you need to come up with something here that tell us how we can fix that all up so we can get at it. And then and also include somebody prioritizing which stones need to be leveled up,
Yeah.
laid down, or.
Yep.
And I think we need to decide as a committee, is that something we would want to do, is lay them down? Or would we want to?
Some of them might have a hard time laying them down.
Yeah, that's the point.
Like physically or emotionally or.
Emotionally, I
Yeah.
think, more than anything, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Adrian? I know that. you've
Well,
certainly-
two of the cemeteries that I can think of right now, I've already had it done completely. The one on Queen Street and the one on Douglas Line, almost to 21,
Hmm.
basically have done what we're talking about. Only in one situation, they're all laid down horizontal flat, and the other one, they're all positioned and cemented in place in one giant
Mhm.
creation.
Mhm.
So some of it's already been done, so we can look at that and see if we like that. And we could also consider looking at what others have done in other municipalities to to eliminate the risk.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I know from the past, not this particular council, but the one before, we made presentations at Queen's Park to the ministry on the issues around some of these inactive cemeteries throughout the province. I mean, they're everywhere. And it's a big issue because perpetual care money wise, most of them, there isn't any money, or it's money you can't use for that kind of stuff. So I think it's something that's going to have to be talked about again with the province and maybe find out what they're willing to do to help out in some of these cemeteries. So anyways, I think it's going to be a big issue for this committee over the next few months, what we want to do, where we want to start, what we want to prioritize. And I think first is getting access to the back of that Arrow Cemetery. If we're going to do that. If not, well, then laying down might be the option.
Maybe Mr. Klassen could be contacted too. He might have an option or an idea or a thought. Because even if we decide that there's no disrespect in laying them down, we still have to prepare for it. We have to get, like you say, get back in there with something, you know, and where he might say, well, I can straighten that rate up for this amount of money, and then might be palatable. But if we, I think if we on the next meeting come prepared to really discuss it out, and then that'll take us, because from that, I'm sure there'll be more questions.
Yeah.
And we'll need some more information, and then by the time we hit May and we go out and visit, we'll be pretty prepped, I think.
Well, I think I've been on this committee quite some time, and I think zeroing in on Arrow Cemetery, but it's kind of neat back in there.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And there's even a road going down in behind, and so I think it's could be a pet project for us. Let's zero in, and even if we pass this committee on to the next council and the next committee, give them something to be working on.
Sure.
If that's what we decide to do. If not, like I say, then it'll just have to be laid down and left wild. But good little pet project, because normally we're just spreading it all over all the inactive. Like, you know what I mean? We're not zeroing in.
And then therefore it's hard to see progress.
It's hard to see progress.
So if you tackle one and zone in on it, and really clean it up, and it's a neat idea.
What do you think, Adrian? What do you think of that discussion?
Yeah, I think that I think that to even expand on the discussion so far, I've been thinking in the recent past that we should consider putting together a 25-year plan and a 50-year plan, believe it or not, because will they be there 100 years from now? I don't know that, but I think it'd be worth thinking about what they do in other places that's more densely populated than Plympton-Wyoming, for an example, in places in Europe, what they do with cemeteries. I think there's other things out there that we should be thinking about. It's a pretty interesting thing, and I think we should have a 100-year plan for those things.
Cool.
Yeah, I think those are good thoughts, Adrian, because like even on our council here, we seem to be looking at long-term plans for almost everything we do. As a matter of fact, just last night, we had a meeting on our parks here in Plympton-Wyoming, and we're looking at a 10-year plan. So with the cemeteries, especially the inactive, we don't really have any plan, in my opinion, other than year to year. So those are good thoughts, and Lisa's been jotting this all down. So for our next meeting, we'll try to come with something. Be talking to Al, and Lisa will be too, and see where we're going with this. And even provincial wise, I'll be meeting with some of the municipalities around I know that Warwick had issues around their inactive cemeteries, same issues. And so I'll try to talk to them a little bit, see where they're going with some of this. So, okay. Well, as a result of those conversations, I got a motion here that staff prepare a report outlining the options regarding the leaning headstones and the inaccessible headstones in Arrow Cemetery. So gonna get a couple signatures on there, but then we'll move that forward. Let's move on with that. Pass that over to somebody. You. Thank you, Pam. Okay, the staff prepare a report outlining the options regarding the leaning headstones and accessible headstones in Arrow Cemetery. That was moved by Albert, second by Pam. All in favor of that report? Carrie, thank you. Okay. Okay, that was in any other business arising from those past minutes? Anybody wants to talk about? Okay. Okay, we see. Okay, we'll just move on from there. Item number 6 on the agenda today, accounts. We have no items at this time. Although I'll just mention that council will be doing budget deliberations here in the next few weeks, so our budget will be on there for approval. I believe that's on the January the 14th and 15th, so just so everybody knows that. So we'll be presenting our budget. Item number 7, staff reports. 7.1, 2025, where are we here? Got a motion for that. Moved by John Van Claveren, second by Albert, the report by Lisa Smeekens, Executive Assistant Deputy Clerk, dated December the 22nd, 2025, regarding the 2025 Wyoming Public Cemetery year-end update be received and the report be forwarded to the council for information purposes. There you have it in front of you. Should be an attachment for that. Take a look at that. You have that, Adrian, the year-end update?
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
Speak to that one.
Yes.
So since this report was authored, there was one more full burial, weekday burial that was completed. So the total is up to 40. So we're kind of right on our average for burials per year. We normally have somewhere between 40 to 45 on a given year. And we also had one plot purchase since this report was authored. So it's a full plot. We are only at a total of 11 for 2025, which is about half of our average per plot sales. So we were quite down on plot sales.
Good.
Hmm.
Good. Yeah. Of course, these numbers change, they go up, they go down, depending on,
Yeah, it's hard to predict when.
Yeah.
What the end of the year.
we do have an aging population according to some statistics I seen yesterday on another topic, so. That not including me.
No.
this is a good report.
Mhm.
Anybody got any questions on this report? You happy with this report, Adrian? I know you haven't got your hand
Yeah,
up.
it's an excellent report. It is interesting to see that the niche sales almost equated to the niche sales were higher than, oh no, the full lots were okay. But the niche sales seems to be going up over the last couple of years by the look of it. There's 3 of them this year, I guess, and 2 the previous 2 years.
Yeah,
That doesn't surprise me.
Yes, some funeral homes have noted that there is definitely a move towards more cremation in general. So I do anticipate that the niche sales probably will stay pretty constant or go up a little bit. But we might be seeing less full burial plot sales in the future unless people are using them for cremation remains, because one full burial plot fits 1 casket and 1 cremation or 4 cremations.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, if anyone reads the obituaries like I do, there certainly is a move for cremation, and then with cremation, they're not necessarily interned. And there's just more options to,
Mhm.
would like to do the remains at that point, the ashes at that point. Yeah. So so that number 7 or number 8 now of, I mean, that might be the future that you were talking about, Adrian.
Yeah.
That the ashes just open up different opportunities that don't involve a full burial plot.
And with that, when we're talking future expansion, which is something that I've kind of dabbled on a little bit in the past, we might need to consider options such as scattering gardens and stuff like that as well, rather than just traditional plots. And just look at what other options are out.
And then would that fall under our purview? This committee, or not necessarily?
I think it would, based on the legalities around the provinces to do with cemetery burials. I think it would fall under. I don't know who else it would fall under, because things are changing, as Lisa just said, like not all things are going to be affected by this committee, like, careful what I say here. But on the radio, it's advertised about different ways to do whatever when you pass on. And one of them they're talking about is some liquid or
Agua,
what's it called?
agua,
Aqua,
agua.
which involves nothing to do with cemeteries, I don't believe. You know what I mean? Like the ashes, yeah, you can spread, you can get spreading zones, you can get quiches, you can get in the grave site, but the aqua, that's a different, so, and that's becoming apparently more popular too. As a matter of fact, it's on the Sarnia News quite often,
Well,
but
Sarnia McCormick does it.
McCormick, okay. So getting back to what Adrian is talking about here, future planning, long-term planning. Who knows what's be left of graveyards? I mean, just using that real estate, like in Europe, in Holland and things, you know, you just don't have the places to for all these burials. So, yeah, so anyway, that Adrian's suggestion is good.
And that might be a future, like a near future topic on another agenda, is to talk about the options. Does it fall under our committee? And the ideas that surround all those, you know? Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, and what's the problem? What's the province? What are they thinking? I mean, they got to be looking at the same conversation. They have to be, because of the changing time. So we'll kind of just leave that with Lisa, and you can keep your ears open and let's see what that discussion is all about, because it's very important to municipalities, because, you know, not that long ago, we're talking about acquiring more land, you know, we're gonna need to expand, and we had a report on that, but do we really need to? You know, if this, what we're discussing is all
Glad you mentioned that.
come to tuition, so, okay. Okay. Any other questions on that year? And that's a good year-end report. Cost of the grade plot now, what is that and a quiche? Do you know offhand? Somebody asked me that question just yesterday and I didn't have an answer.
Yeah, that for you.
I could have looked back on my documents, so I thought I just asked today.
So for 2026, the cost of a full cemetery plot, it will be $1,037.17.
Okay.
And the cost of a niche is $2,695.78.
That was 695?
Yep.
Okay. And I guess my final question on the niche, what percentage have we used up over there? Any idea?
I would say probably like 40%, but that's just, I guess I don't know exact figures.
Adrian, did you have a comment on that?
No, but
Oh,
yeah, that's an interesting 40%. That's close to half. Yeah.
yeah, Okay.
Interesting.
but I suppose that's something I have to look at in the future, is whether we put another one in sometime, depending how quick it gets used up. So that kind of history also. How many years did it take to get to 40%?
I'm not sure when it was put in.
Yeah, well, that was something Don Nelson was one of the Don's.
Okay.
Putting that there, so. Something we can look at anyways.
It's
Okay.
probably about 15 years, I'd guess.
How about 15 years? Okay. All right, well, if it's increased usage, we'll have to keep an eye on that too. Excuse me. Okay, okay, all accept the year-end update, all in favor? Yeah. Gary? Okay, thank you. Okay, item number 8 on the agenda today. We don't have any bylaws. Number 9, correspondence. 9.1, the correspondence be received by the Wyoming Cemetery Inactive Cemetery Committee, filed accordingly. You see it there in front of you, BAO Lifeline, and CAO registers message. BAO Public Dashboard, Government Request Feedback. It should be in your package there. Let's have a look at that. Where can you sign it? Good to get these reports too. Thank you.
So where does this report come from?
It comes from the BAO, which is the Bereavement Authority of Ontario.
They do make a comment here as one of their objectives, that this organization has seen 93 unlicensed cemeteries enter the process of becoming licensed, which will ensure perpetual care and maintenance, respect of the deceased and their descendants. Not sure how that fleshes out.
Yeah, that's an
Sounds
interesting.
good, but not sure what that exactly means, because it requires, as we know, everything requires dollars and cents to make things happen, and
So I think in many cases, something like that would be a municipality often taking over an inactive cemetery that's kind of been
Yeah.
neglected. So
yes.
that would be my assumption, that a bunch
Okay.
of those likely fall into that.
Okay. Do we know if there's any in our community, Lisa, that they refer to here?
No, not that
Okay.
I'm aware of. So we have our 11 inactive cemeteries and the one active one, and then there are also I think 4 or 5 cemeteries in the municipality that aren't owned by the town.
Yep.
And then we know who takes care of those ones as well, and we do have contact information. So as far as I know, there's not any cemeteries that are just completely unlicensed in our area, but I can't say that for certain.
Yeah, I don't know of any, we don't have any that are unlicensed.
I don't think so.
They're inactive, they're not, they've been closed. I can think of one that private, like Utoxeter,
Mhm.
you recall that at one time was considered turning that over to us, now that turned out the board didn't do that. They were fishing to see what it was all about.
Mhm.
So now my understanding of that whole thing, and I'm certainly not a lawyer, but some of these ones that are privately run decide to back out from it, the town is obliged to municipality to take them over.
Okay.
So,
Where are the other three that I do not know?
So the 3 cemeteries that are in the municipality that are not owned by the town, one is Mount Calvary, which is the Catholic portion that's adjacent to
Yeah.
Public. There is Hillsborough Cemetery, which is out on Hillsborough Road.
yeah,
And then there's Utoxeter Cemetery on Utoxeter Road.
I didn't even think about Mount Calvary, but that's Catholic.
That's right,
Yeah.
that's right.
Okay.
So with these folks, like BAO, aware of, say, Utoxeter? No, like,
I
just
think
curious.
likely would, because it's still, it's being operated through the Utoxeter United Church. So I think since it's operational, that they likely do have a license through the BAO.
Okay.
I could look into it just to make sure, since it's our municipality.
That would be great. Yeah.
They don't talk about inactive here till. Yeah. Anyways, that's a good report. Any other questions on that report? Okay, not seeing none, all in favor of that motion to accept it? Thank you. Okay, moving on, the next item on the agenda, item number 10, new business. We have one there that I'd asked Lisa to put on the new year. It's a 2026 flower cleanup schedule. So you can see that's attached. Anybody have any issues with it? They can explain to Lisa.
Oh.
Or if you can't perform your month, you can trade with anybody you'd like. Or if you're really ambitious, you can pick my spot. No, not really.
I have a question.
It's worth to you.
Last fall, somebody planted some cedar trees beside the gravestone. And that's not allowed, right? Much as I understand it.
Got a bunch down.
Well, Actually, I'll admit I pulled them out.
Well,
We want to get away from that, right?
Mhm.
We got other ones down and moved it up. Well, and there's some with puts decorative stone all the way around the front, or what do we do with that?
yeah, well, it's not,
As it's planting flowers and remove them.
well, that's actually dangerous because, you know, the lawnmower picks up them stones.
That's right.
We had one other like that got cleaned up.
Still more there, so.
So what is the protocol there? We just kind of deal with it, or do we make a call, let them know we're dealing with it, or?
If we know who it is, I would suggest a call first. And if we've had people refuse before certain things, and then if they do, we have a bylaw clearly states what you can and can't do.
Right.
We did pretty well on that, cleaning up that cemetery. We moved in there and didn't have too much trouble, really. Matter of fact, it improved a lot of people's stones instead of, you know, the trees pushing them over and up, and it really improved them. Matter of fact, it was just yesterday, day before, I had wasn't really a complaint, but a comment about right at the far back corner about trees growing up along the stone, pushing it. Now, I was over there yesterday. I couldn't find that spot. So the guy's gonna bring me the name that's on the stone.
We'll
We'll,
be probably the very east in the older section.
yeah,
Well, there's trees growing up around the stones,
I
yeah.
thought we'd cleaned most of them up.
No.
Cleaned a lot?
Trees still doing that.
Okay.
Should be cut down.
Okay, well then, we'll talk to Al about that, and with that kind of thing, we just proceeded with, right? We put notices out that was gonna happen, so.
Yeah, and it is in our bylaw that they aren't allowed to do the decorative gardens or planting
Yeah.
trees and stuff without town's permission, so. If it is put up, we do have the, to take it back out. So I think if you do see that, the best course of action would likely be to contact Al and let him know, and then he could take a look, and if we have the contact information, we can try and reach out to the family.
Same, they were taking out things like shepherd hooks and stuff like that, but they didn't just throw them out, they put them over the shop for a little while and. Yeah, because it just gets carried away, right? So. Okay, so everybody okay with the committee there? Adrian, you got May, you'll be back by then, won't you?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Question, how did the cemetery fare with the ice storm?
Yeah, I was gonna talk about that in a minute. Oh, under new business, so. Okay, anything else on the schedule? File that. Put that in your file. Okay, under new business. Okay, anybody, John, do you have any new business?
Nothing for me, Mr. Chair.
Pam? No, nothing. Albert?
Other than clean up,
Yeah.
how do we fare? I didn't even get to look at it.
Okay, well, for Albert, we put Albert down under this one, I'll just comment on it. I did do a tour of the cemeteries after the ice storm. Matter of fact, I did another partial tour yesterday. And what I found is, yes, in the main cemetery, there is some branches down. They picked up a few, the smaller ones, but there's some bigger ones down. I've informed Paul and Al about them. I talked to Al just this morning. He would have been here, but he got such a bad cold, he didn't want to come in. The worst I seen was out at Kamlaki Cemetery, and those big evergreen trees, the big ones in there. There is a lot of branches come down, 3-4 inches, and they're all under those evergreen trees. So I informed them of that. No, they're picking up brush. Today's the 8th, right?
Yep.
They're picking up brush, roadside brush because of the ice storm in Wyoming today. And on the 9th, which is tomorrow, they're picking up out north of 402. So I informed them of all them branches down in the Kamlaki Cemetery. So they'll be cleaning those up too. So the other places, there wasn't many trees in some of the inactive cemeteries, but I didn't see there. So that's kind of what I seen. So it'll be, now if they don't pick the ones up tomorrow in Kamlaki, they will get to them because there's a lot. For some reason, a lot of them broke off them evergreens. Well, I don't know, somebody kind of piled them up kind of neatly under the trees. But anyways, that's what I seen. So I don't know if anybody else seen any. Yeah, I think we kind of get off easy on that ice storm.
So a lot of willow trees took a big hit.
You know, they did, but you know, if it hadn't turned warm as quick as it did, We'd have had a lot more, because it was really starting to build up quick and then it turned warm enough that, so. Okay, anything else under new business?
Yes, I have a couple items.
Okay.
So I wanted to let the committee know that currently our cemetery records are all paper-based. So in the past, we've had some things go missing or just not be kept as nicely as we would like, just because it is little cue cards that we keep most of the information on. So this year I am working on digitalizing the records. So for now, we're just gonna do it in-house on just a spreadsheet. But it might be that in the future, we might want to look into a specific cemetery-based software. So not the plans for now, but it is something we might want to venture into down the road, just because we do want our records to be pristine, as up to date as possible. It's records about people's lives, and we want to make sure that they're respected and kept well. We're currently starting the process of digitalizing those. And then something I just wanted to get in everyone's mind is it was mentioned by the counselors that the budget is being reviewed by council later this month. So at our next meeting, we should probably start kind of giving Al some ideas of what we want the focus to be. So we'll start with that staff report about Arrow Cemetery. But if there's anything else that kind of comes to mind, it's kind of nice to give him heads up earlier in spring if possible. I know we have our cemetery tour in May, and that also gives us a lot of ideas. So next meeting, even if I just bring the stuff we have from the last cemetery tour, just the notes we had. And then if there was any, like, I know in the draft budget, we had put in a line for tree planting. So then if we kind of make the decisions of where we want those trees planted and stuff like that. So we can't do it now because the budget's not approved as of yet. But that is something for the next meeting.
Yeah, and that's a good one on the trees, because even yesterday when I was over here at the public cemetery, I don't know how many times you mentioned along the south side of the cemetery, actually on the north side too, wanting to clean up that area. I think there's one little evergreen tree growing along that south side. Everything else kind of died off for some reason. And that's a great spot to plant some trees. So I don't know how much money we got in the budget for trees now. One time we had $20,000 and it wasn't growing many trees. So, yeah, give Al up because they'll be planting. So, I can't remember where our priorities were on the public cemetery over there. I know we talked about the south side. I know we talked about the north side.
North side, apparently a lot of that is on the landowner's side, that along the fence there, those trees. I was told,
On the north side?
yeah, the newer cemetery, yeah. I
Well,
thought they were there on the cemetery side, but I found out later, most of the stuff is all on the landowner side.
yeah, I'm not so sure of that because
Brought that to my attention.
it gets quite a hill there.
Goes down quite a bit,
Mhm.
yeah.
And it's interesting you mentioned that because going in there yesterday, there's a sign there, sold sign. North side of the
Yeah,
road.
yes, yep.
Yeah,
Old
right.
Beef bought that and then they sold it again.
Sold again?
Yeah. It's supposed to be some apartments in like they did here in Coophead.
Well, when they cleaned that up, I don't know who plowed it, I don't know who worked it up, but they worked it up too close to the road. Quite a few feet there that belonged to
Oh, yeah.
the town. I was thinking there before, that'd be a great place to plant a nice row of maples. Heading right into that whole length, but.
Owned by Clark's before us, and I think it was that before us that happened.
Okay, yes, yeah, absolutely it was, yeah. But I just wonder how many feet there we have to plant trees every day,
Right.
going into a cemetery, having a bunch of nice maple
Right.
trees. But then if it's gonna interfere with the ag part of it, no. Acceptable. Anyways, we can look at that for the list for Al. Bring up our list that we did last year on our tour where we want trees. Have that ready for the next meeting for Al to say which ones do we want him to do. I don't know how, we didn't budget any money for trees, did we?
I think in the inactive cemetery, we budgeted a few thousand for trees. For the active cemetery, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get that for the next meeting. Okay, anything else? You okay, Adrian?
Yep.
Okay, sir. All right, then I guess we'll close out the meeting. The Wyoming Public Cemetery and Inactive Cemetery meeting adjourns until March the 12th, 2026. At 9 AM, so not 2 PM, at 9 AM. Right, Lisa?
Yes. Sorry, I had never noticed that. Thank you, good catch.
Well, John would have been right on you.
Oh, yeah, he wouldn't have been here. He'd have waited until 2 in the afternoon. That was moved by Hank and seconded by John. All in favor of adjourning the meeting? Carried.
What did you say, the next meeting is 12?
March the 12th. Adrian, you enjoy yourself down there and all the, keep safe and don't do too much golfing. That sun's hot.
Okay, I'll do my best to keep hydrated.
Thank you. See you when you get back.
Thank you.